Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to All for United, and I love doing this show because now every time we win I can say, where are we? Where are we again? Sorry, no, where are we? top of the league, are we? Yes, we're back to top of the league. City thought, they'd go and they'd try, they'd see what it's like for an hour or so, and then we'll come back and go, hey, thanks for warming up that seat of ours. We're back now. We're back on top. Yes, United have won by 2-1 against Fulham. We are back to the top of the league. We didn't make it an easy job. It was quite a difficult game in the end. And as I said, against these kind of relegation battlers, it's always going to be a tough game. They took the lead early on, and then we sort of grew into the game almost. And that's what we tend to do away from home. We don't do away wins unless it's coming from behind, clearly. But yeah, we got over the line. A fantastic goal from Paul Pogba gets us the winner. That man just can't stay out of the headlines. And hey, United got top. And we nearly lost the 3 points. We almost drew the game thanks to something that belongs on our context, Eric Bailly. And I'm sure it will be there by the end of the night. Anyway, joining me on the post-match is James and Connor. Abdel will be here shortly. Everyone get in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling after that win. And of course, hit that like button. Make sure we get over the line to our target. We'll go to James first. James, how did you find the game when we went behind? Did you feel nervous, or did you always know that, hey, this team has something in it to come back from behind?
It's United, isn't it? You go one goal behind and you're always going to be a bit nervous. I was nervous at 0-0, to be honest. But, yeah, I'm really impressed with the response today and how quick it was. Usually it takes us a good half an hour, 45 minutes to get going, even after conceding the goal. But, straight away we were at it. Bruno had that chance to hit the post, score straight after that. And then we were pretty relentless after that as well. There was only... I think that Fulham in the second half had a few sort of counter-attacking opportunities where they looked a bit dangerous, but for most of the game, there was only one team in it, really, wasn't there? I think it was only a matter of time before we scored with a lot of quality chances. The keeper made a lot of very good saves as well. But, we were saying before the game, you can't underestimate Fulham, and I think we may have slightly done that at the start of the game. I think the players didn't quite know what they were in for. They've clearly got a lot of good players going forward. I thought Loftus-Cheek was really good today, but... yeah, I just very pleased with the win. It's really nice to see us, grinding out these results that last season would have almost definitely been draws. We either wouldn't have got that second or we'd have conceded in the last minute. So it's nice to see that we're finally turning these difficult situations into 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the spirit of the team is something that's been praised a lot in recent weeks. And, that's probably why we're sustaining this challenge. This is why we're still in the hunt for a title, and something that we didn't really expect before. Now, the criticism is always, no tactics, just vibes. But the vibes seem all right, and they seem to be getting us over the line, don't they, Connor?
Yes, definitely. I still stand by it. I don't care how we win as long as we get over the line. And as long as we just enjoy watching United, which I think obviously we have done over the last, or I certainly have over the last 12 to 18 months since Ollie's came in. You just mentioned there about the team spirit. That's evident to see, even under the tough times, that was evident to see. And it's more so now you see the reaction after the game, especially from players like Pogba, who's had massive criticism, rightfully so in some aspects. But again, he pulls out a big goal for us at a big time. And that togetherness will and has been dragging us up the table and winning us these games, because even when we go a goal down at 1-0, I wasn't really that nervous because of how many times we can come back. And that's the beauty of watching United at the moment. If we go a goal ahead, we know that we can counter-attack, and when teams come at us, we're good on the break. And when we go a goal down, there's no need to worry because we know this team can come back as well. So it's brilliant to watch at the moment. It was a good performance. I think we didn't underestimate. I don't think we underestimated Fulham. I think it was always going to be a tough game. Their results against the current top six have been good, and they don't ship that many goals. So it was never going to be a 3-4-0 anyway. And I didn't think they offered that much going forward, apart from a couple of nervy moments at the end. So I thought we rode it out quite well. We created quite a few chances. So overall, it was a solid performance.
Yep, definitely agree. And we will get on to Paul Pogba because I think that is something we need to discuss. Big shock. But let's get into the comments. Make sure they keep coming in. Make sure to like the video as well. Let's get to that 20 like target and make sure it's 21. Let's end the video with 21, and then whatever you want to do after that, that's fine. Hate mentioning the weather, but I'm glad I'm inside today. Yes, it is snowing up here in Manchester. I don't know where it is, whether it's snowing wherever you are, but it's snowing up here.
Chucking it down.
Credit Fulham, can see why they drew with Liverpool and nearly drew with Chelsea. Yeah, my mate was telling me as well that this is going to be a tough game. they've become difficult to beat in their last 5 or 6 games. So this was never going to be easy. I thought that David De Gea was in the chat then, but it's not David De Gea. It's Dan De Gea. No, United didn't nearly give it away. What? Yes, we did. Or maybe not. I don't know. But first of all, what are you doing on Facebook? Get over to youtube.com/AllForUnited. Come join us there. This is a fantastic. I love it when people on Facebook comment. It's such an easy plug. Great win against a solid team. Cavani has to start up top every game he can. Let's answer that first. James, what did you make of that then? Is Cavani a must start?
With Greenwood in the form that he is, I think Cavani's our only reasonable out and out number 9 sort of shout. I think Rashford and Martial do a job up there, but not to the levels that Cavani does it. And Cavani's been playing in that position all his career, and he's one of the best to ever do it there, isn't he? So, while he's still, he's obviously still got his legs. They're not going on him at all. He's never been a rapid striker, but he's still got that little burst of pace that he needs. And I think we've seen today he's such an asset in all parts of the game. He links up play well between the attack and defence. He holds the ball up well. He can get in behind with his smart movement. He's very physical. He's on his day. He's a very good finisher. He's got a few howlers in him, but he's generally a very good finisher. So I think as long as you're managing his fitness well and making sure he's not at risk of many injuries, then I think he's got to be one of the first names on the team sheet. Especially after that performance, he's definitely earned a couple of starts from that, I think.
Yep, give it Cavani, give it to Eddie Cavani. That sounds fantastic, by the way. I sing it all the time now. I probably shouldn't. Abdel's in the background. He's arrived now. Abdel, by the way, just to inform you, we're top of the league, my friend. We'll ask you about Cavani then. What do you think Cavani brings that maybe a Mason Greenwood, a Martial, a Rashford, what is it that he brings that they can't?
Currently goals.
Fair enough.
They haven't been scoring. It is becoming a serious issue because our forwards are not scoring except for Cavani and Rashford. So we can't keep being carried by Bruno Fernandes or a Pogba winner. So they have to contribute at some point now. Other than that, he like you guys were just saying, he's the fox in the box, the cliche. He's the guy who will lose defenders in the box and place himself in positions where he can capitalize, and you've seen that today.
No, yeah, 100%, and as well, I think it's the experience that he brings, and a lot of the commentary was on his experience and his work rate as well. For a 33-year-old, he's still putting in a shift, and we all saw the fitness that he was putting in as well. Connor, how impressed have you been with Cavani? Did you expect this from him? Because I can't see too many United fans that when we signed him expected him to be as good as he has been.
No. He comes with a good reputation anyway, and it was a free transfer, so the expectation wasn't huge, certainly not for myself. We needed somebody similar to kind of what Agallo did in the early days, just that striker that can come on and just get a goal when we need to. And I think Cavani's exceeded that and is now, like James was just saying there, needs to be the first name on the team sheet, or certainly what I think anyway, because like you just said, he adds that kind of leadership, and he's won things where he's obviously at PSG, and he knows how to get a goal in those important moments. And we don't really have a striker like that. Like we just said there, Martial and Rashford can do a job there, but Cavani's on another level in terms of his movement in the box. That's the main thing, because when you've got good movement as a striker, you pull defenders away. And if you're defending against somebody like Cavani, you're going to be all constantly looking at where he is, and it frees the wide men up, and Fernandes can roam a bit more, and that's where you see Pogba in good areas as well. So it affects the whole team having a proper number 9 who has got good movement, but is also can get in goal and be clinical in front of goal as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's a big love for Cavani in the chat. Abdel's face has disappeared. Oh, he's back on now. Big love for Cavani in the chat. We've got a British TV presenter, Ben Shepherd, in the comments, I believe. Probably not that Ben Shepherd, but if it is you, mate, welcome to All for United. Hope you subscribe. Now we need to discuss Paul Pogba, because the man is genuinely getting us big goals. When Paul Pogba scores, we go top of the league. That seems to be the narrative at the minute. James, how happy have you been with Paul Pogba and his response? And we'll get into the motives a little bit later, but how happy have you been with this form?
Oh, it's been, as of late, should I say, he's probably been United's best player all round. He's definitely been one of the most influential, especially now that Bruno's sort of dropped off a little bit. But for the circumstances around this season he's had so far, you had the fan base turned against him after that Spurs loss. He wasn't great there at all. Then his agent comes out and makes all the comments. He stays quiet about it. The fans aren't happy about that either. And to come back from all that and to be putting in performances like that, I saw a stat. He scored 3 goals so far in the Premier League this season. 1 was an equaliser, and 2 were the goals that put United ahead in the games. So he's scoring big goals for us as well. It's not like he's just adding a 4th or a 5th to the scoreline once we'd already won the game, like other players in other teams do. But he is phenomenal, isn't he? When he's on his game, I think he's added so much more to his game recently as well. This isn't just the Paul Pogba when Solskjaer first came in that was getting all the goals and the assists. This is a Pogba who is now well suited to playing that defensive role. He's added a lot more defensive, awareness to his game. I'm sure Abdul will be able to go into it in more detail, or he might just completely prove me wrong. I'm not sure, but his mentality seems to be so much different now. He seems to be so much more mature as a player. Like he did seem a little bit childish even up to the last 6 months where things weren't going well. He'd just up sticks and leave. But he's become a real leader out on that pitch, and his performances have shown that. And I'm really impressed with the turnaround that he's had.
I will go to Abdel next because we need to think about what's been going differently, because this isn't something that we should be surprised about, because this is the player that Paul Pogba is. But for so long, we've always been discussing what's Pogba's best role, what's his best position, what's his best partnership, this, that, and the other, all this unlocking Paul Pogba nonsense that we had. What is different now about Paul Pogba than before? Why is he hitting this form?
Honestly, it's him. It's all down to him. Now, I'm not gonna say here that Ollie changed something in him or anything. It's just his mentality. He decided that, you know what, I'm gonna roll my sleeves up and work, because the side of his game that made him a liability to us was he just was not interested doing the defensive stuff. And this is why fans were complaining that, that's Pogba's not here to defend. Pogba's here to do the magic work up top. Play him in the 10, play him when we didn't have Bruno at the time. Like, play him at the time where you're playing him in the pivot and you're putting Lingard or Pereira in the 10 at that time. He just was not interested in doing the defensive work. You'll see him jogging back when we can see the counter-attack. You'll see him not trying so much because, like I've said it before, I think he decided like he was mentally off from United after the 18-19 season, and how that season ended. And then when he came out in that interview in Japan and said that, I think, I've been here for years. I think it's time for a new challenge, blah, blah, blah. He mentally switched off. Yeah. And then he just wasn't the same Pogba. Like at the time where Ollie came as an interim manager, he was pulling his weight. He was performing. And then when he came back after that injury, he was just like, you know what? I think my time here is done. I don't want to do this anymore. And you can see it in the body language and in everything that he's doing. Like you said, we don't know what the motives are for him deciding now to, what, I'm going to do all the jobs that are required for me. Because hands down, Paul Pogba is one of the most complete midfield players. He can do every single one of these jobs. He can play in the double pivot. He can play in the 10. He can play on the hand side. He can play on the right hand side of the 8s. He can do all of them. Of course, he's stronger a little bit in others than in some more than others, but he's complete. When Ollie and other managers were saying he can do everything, they really meant it. Paul Pogba can do everything in midfield.
Paul Pogba can do everything. And hey, when he asked for a different challenge, Ollie probably just went to him and went, "Yeah, Paul, how about a title challenge?" And he went, "You know what, Ollie? I'll take that." And here we are, top of the league. Maybe I'd like to think that's what happened. It probably isn't. Connor, I want to ask you about his motives then, because about 2 months ago, before Christmas, Mino Raiola comes out and goes, Paul Pogba doesn't want to be here. He wants to leave. Now, all of a sudden, Paul Pogba is leading us to a title charge. What the fuck has happened since then? How does a player change his mentality that quickly? What do you think clicks? Because, well, I'll tell you what I thought happened, but I want to hear what you think happened.
It might sound quite cynical. I think he's playing for a move, as negative as that sounds. I think there's probably been some kind of agreement with the club. the way the club backed him after the Raiola comments, and Raiola and Pogba both came out and said the same thing, that it was false, even though we all know that it wasn't. I think it's probably been a discussion with with Ollie and with the club that you give your best until the end of the season, or, until the summer, and you can have your move. I think that's probably what's happened. I said after the Burnley game, whatever his motives are, as long as he gives 100% while he's here, I'm not too fussed, because we get a brilliant player out of it until the end of the season, and then if he does still want to leave, then we can part ways. But I think that's what's happened. I think there's been a conversation had between the club and Pogba and Raiola, because I don't think it's any coincidence that the club came out and backed Pogba and Raiola. They all came out with the same statement pretty much at the same time, to defend to squash what apparently Raiola had said. So yeah, I think that conversation's happened. But like I said, who cares? As long as he gives 100% while he's here, then so be it.
Yeah, I do agree. But go on, Abdul.
Karthik, just to comment on Fred when he said give Ollie credit in the way he handled managed Pogba. I did that, and we all did that in the manner is Ollie managed the situation of Pogba very well. But Pogba himself deciding I'm gonna do the dirty work, that's on him.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but the situation itself, Ollie takes full credit for that. The way he managed Raiola and Pogba, and I want to leave, and he doesn't want to stay here, and all that stuff, that's on Ollie for sure.
I 100% agree, because as a manager, you can manage a situation, you can play into a player's favor, you can help him in whatever way you want. But in the end, if a player wants to go and execute what you've told him to, that's a him problem. That's within himself. Mentality is always controlled by him, not by any external source. So that's what I have to say on that. And I agree with Connor. I think there has been a discussion behind the scenes. I think Ollie has told him that, if you give me at the end of the season, give me everything you've got, go out on a high, let the fans applaud you on your way out, and we'll give you the move. I think Paul Pogba's said, yeah, sure, why not? And hey, as I keep saying every week, the last time a player was told that was Cristiano Ronaldo. And what did we do that year, Abdel?
Won the league.
Yes, we did. And where are we now? We're top of the league, aren't we? Like the fucking video if you haven't already. We're top of the league, you bastards. Like the video now. I need to stop swearing. Ben's going to kick me off this show. Anyway, I need to discuss the defence, because it is an area that I always criticise us about. I've said it about the last month or so. I've kept saying that, this defence can't win as a league. It's not strong enough. It doesn't have the depth. I want to ask you, James, first. What did you make of the defence? Do you think it needs a little bit more? Because at the minute, we're not looking amazing at the back. But in the games like this, where, the last 5 minutes we're in a scrap and it looks like we might concede, we're somehow keeping them out. And it seems as though our defenders are showing that little bit of grit, a little bit of fight that we need. What are your thoughts?
I thought, all in all, it was a good defensive display. I think, Wan-Bissaka's getting a lot of unfair criticism. I thought going forward, he was quite good again today. He put in some decent balls. He was always an option down that right to stretch Fulham's defence a bit, and I thought he had his part to play going forward. But he had that little lapse of concentration. The whole back line did, really, didn't they, for Fulham's goal? So take a little bit of a mark off of their player ratings at the end of the game. But I think Maguire again was solid. I've been very impressed with him since the Spurs loss. I think he I already thought he was, but I think he's definitely our best defender. I think there's a lot of hype around Bailly, but I think Maguire as a complete defender is all there. But I thought the only thing I did notice was I think we saw a little bit of a weakness to Eric Bailly's game in his, I want to say, his concentration levels, his rashness, in that there was a couple of times where he just maybe made the wrong decision. There was a bit of a poor back pass to De Gea, a couple of times where he nearly cost us. But saying that, most of the time he recovered those mistakes very well, and he kept out a very dangerous front line for Fulham. So I can't really have any complaints. I thought, again, a bit of a mistake for their goal, but all in all, we did pretty well at the back, and we have done for quite a while now. We're conceding a few here and there, but every team does, don't they?
Yeah, I do want to say that I agree with you in that some of the defence has performed well. But today, one player that didn't have a great game, Abdel, was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I thought he struggled a little bit today. What do you put that down to? Was it just an off day from him, or do you think there's a little bit more to his game that needs developing?
No, of course there's a lot of development to be had in Aaron Wan-Bissaka and in Greenwood. So you saw that the whole, how do you say it? Like you saw why United struggle or why United don't have a right side today. Again, it's not the first time. So, like when people said in the Liverpool game, why did Oli put Pogba on the right? Think back again in the games where Oli put Pogba in the double pivot. He a lot of the times put him on the right of the pivot because Pogba helps ball progression, and that will help Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the same time because Aaron Wan-Bissaka struggles with ball progression. When he has Scott on his side, or when he has, I don't know, yeah, Scott usually on his side, he struggles with that, and especially when he doesn't have a natural right winger up top, or at least Greenwood. Well, he's not a natural right winger, but he does a job there. If when he has Mata, for example. Um, so so that's one area of the game where Aaron Wan-Bissaka struggles. The goal today, I wouldn't like Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be the last on my list to blame. I think I would put Maguire and Bailly higher, and even Pogba in the mix because he saw that Maguire moved out too much and left that space. Then I would say Bailly should have noticed that Maguire moved up that much and he should have shifted the line and covered that space. Pogba then noticed that no one was covering for Maguire and he was like pointing towards the areas, like who was picking that guy up, you know?
Yeah.
And then he decides just like a half a second later and then he decides to play the offside, line. So it was a bad communication between the entire back line. So I wouldn't really be harsh on Aaron Wan-Bissaka and say, oh, it's his fault because he's a little bit back and he played him onside. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka struggles going forward in just because of there's no one with him really. There's no and when he does go forward, a lot of the times when he actually decides to take the ball forward and whip in across, we do create a chance. So imagine if there was a right winger with creative abilities with him on his side. That's going to help him a lot.
100%. Connor, what do you make of it? Because there's a comment here from Jacob that says he's unsure about Wan-Bissaka still. And then there's another comment from Stuart, which I definitely agree with, that Wan-Bissaka needs competition a bit like Luke Shaw. Yeah. What do you make of it?
I don't necessarily agree with the first comment. I do agree with the second one. I think we've seen what competition has done for Luke Shaw. I was one of his biggest critics last year, as I know you were, and maybe still are. But yeah, he's massively improved. And Wan-Bissaka, I think, is struggling with a similar thing with what Rashford is going through. Might be a bit of confidence, a bit of fatigue, but I don't think Wan-Bissaka has been awful. I've seen a lot of people go a bit over the top with it. He's made a couple of bad decisions, a couple of times he's been out of position, but he recovers well. There was a time he was out of position today. I can't remember who it was. It was one long ball over the top, but he recovered well and stopped the shot on target. So he's definitely not been one of our worst players. He's nowhere near, and like Abdel just said, he wouldn't be anywhere near one of the first people to blame. As for the first comment that you brought up there, I don't get this argument that people are unsure of him because, I mean, you look at the right backs we've had prior to that. Obviously, we had Ashley Young there, Valencia played there, Darmian, and it was just all over the place. And Wan-Bissaka is, I can't even begin to describe how much of a better right back he is.
Let's just address that. If you think I've been bad with fucking Luke Shaw, you should have seen me with Ashley Young. Fuck me, that was a dangerous period. Anyway, carry on.
Me too. Yeah, no, so you think of the upgrade that we've had there. Wan-Bissaka is still a young player. I think a lot of people think that this is Wan-Bissaka at his peak. He's still got years to go until he reaches his peak. So there's still a lot of development to be had with him. Going forward, and I don't think he's as bad as everyone makes out to be. Like, again, I agree with what Abdel just said. Imagine what he'd be like if he had somebody in front of him most of the time. And it was evident again today. Although Greenwood was staying out to the right a bit more than he usually does, Wan-Bissaka's still got to get past one or two players just to get a crossing on his own. So if we had a natural right winger to help him out a bit and free some more space up, his crossing ability is quite good, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not actually terrible. I do agree with that. And I also agree with this comment from Brown Knight. His glaring problem is awareness. And I do agree with that because sometimes he can get a little bit caught out, positionally anyway. But he's blessed with the pace and tackling ability that he can go and win it back. But I do think he has a bit of an issue there. And I do agree, as Fred says, he agrees with Abdel. If we had a right winger, it would ease the pressure off him. It's not down to a right winger to take all of the creative responsibility, but having a supporting fullback. The fullback is always meant to be supporting, not the main outlet. Just because Liverpool have Trent and he's their key creator doesn't mean that is the formula for fullbacks. I mean, even in that sort of formation, Salah is the right winger there, and he occupies a certain space and then leaves that space for Trent to go into. So you need that support there. Without a proper right winger, you don't have that luxury. But yeah, that's just one part of the defence. Another one I want to ask you is, I'll go to James for this one. Harry Maguire, when does he get the credit he deserves? Because he's not been terrible. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't amazing today, but he also wasn't terrible today. But he's in a good run of form, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on a good run of form. He's been a brilliant player for Manchester United since they signed him, in my opinion. But you look on Twitter, he's not going to get the recognition he deserves because he's not very good on FIFA. That's the matter of the facts. So, I've been on a video with Abdul before where he's said that he is well, I don't know if you used the word world class, but he says he's a brilliant defender and he's not getting enough credit because
I said he's one of the best in the league in terms of defensive contributions.
Yeah, there you go. So I think it is just a bit. You get a few occasions where his pace and agility let him down a little bit, but that is very, very few occasions, and we've seen on multiple times. You saw that block from Firmino's basically open goal against Liverpool. There's a lot of times that go under the radar where he's genuinely saved us in games, and I think because he's a little bit clunky and a little bit weird, and he's a tall he's a tall, stocky English bloke, proper Brexit type footballer. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves. I think if say a £30 million player from Ligue 1 that we brought in put in these exact same performances, I think we'd be putting him up there as one of the best in the league. I think the whole fan base would be. So I think for a long time now he's been underappreciated by the United fans because yes, he does have his off moments, and I get frustrated with him from time to time, but he is a quality defender.
100% agree. I mean, especially because he's one of the few. You've got three. I mean, they're emerging now, but he was one of the first few ball-playing defenders that were English, because it was a rare sight to see English players that can play the ball out, especially since Rio was no longer in the game. We didn't have a proper one like that. Harry Maguire led that line, I think, and then came the likes of Joe Gomez. People like that who've grown into that role. And to be honest, if his name was Hesse Maguire, he'd probably get a lot more credit than he does. But his name's Harry Maguire, so he's not going to get it. Connor, what do you make of Harry Maguire? How good is he?
I think he's been brilliant for a while.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Why do you look a little bit like Harry Maguire? Am I the only one who's noticed this?
Here we go. I've had this before. You're not the first.
Why was that? Whoa! Hang on a minute. Let's zoom in on his face again. Hang on.
Here we go.
He genuinely looks like Harry Maguire. That's crazy. Anyway, carry on, Harry. Sorry, I mean Connor.
Nah, Connor is more handsome.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. Abdel's got your back. Go on.
I think I agree with pretty much everything with what James was just saying there. I think because he's not, I said this after the Burnley game, because he's not blessed with pace and he is a bit clunky and a bit all over the place at times, he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. I think people just like to pick out his mistakes because they're more obvious, and it's like when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it stands out more because it usually leads to a goal. When Maguire obviously makes a mistake, I don't think we have another centre-back anywhere near up to his level that can recover like he can. You've seen a couple of times, like James just mentioned. That's a good comment. I like that one. But yeah, like James just said, I can't even remember what I was going to say now as soon as you're looking at that comment.
Because he just put the thought in your head now. I was like, what?
Harry Maguire wouldn't have that wallpaper. What wallpaper is it?
Oh, it's coming off, mate. It's all being done. Don't worry about that.
It's one big English flag. That's what it is. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you there. Carry on.
I can't remember what I was talking about, to be honest. But yeah, no, he's been good for a while. But like I say, he doesn't get the recognition because a lot of his mistakes have led to a goal or a big opportunity. So it's picked out a lot more, and we know how. So I think it's more of a social media thing, to be honest. The social media fan base, as we know, can be quite toxic and negative at times, and they just like to pick out any old flaw and anything. But he's definitely the best centre back we've got, because I mean, you take him out, and what partnership have you got? Lindelof and Bailly together? That wouldn't work at all.
Would it not? To be fair, we have tried it, and I don't think it would work. Speaking of partnerships, though, I want to ask Abdel this because we briefly spoke about it the last time we spoke. I can't remember when that was. We had one game with Liverpool where Lindelof and Maguire started. We had another game today with Bailly and Maguire. Which do you think is our first? Because you were very much in the party of Bailly should be the partnership with Maguire, weren't you? Has that changed for you over the last couple of weeks?
No, I was on the fence. What are you talking about?
No, hang on a minute. No. You were telling me that Bailly was a better fit. No, you said Bailly was the better partner, but Lindelof is probably the better defender.
Better partner for Maguire's weaknesses.
Yeah,
that's for sure, because Bailly is a bit more physical than Lindelof, and he has the speed to recover. Or he's just faster than Lindelof, I guess. Lindelof just reads the game better. That's for sure, and you've seen it in the Liverpool game. The guy just was phenomenal that game. He read every play, and his interceptions were all very key interceptions that could have led to a goal scoring opportunity. Like, even when, if you remember, because we were trying to press Liverpool, not fully, but like we didn't do it for 90 minutes, but we did it throughout in patches. And we did, the risk is that you would leave all, because one of the fullbacks moved to press. So you leave the three that's left, which is the other fullback and the two center backs, one-on-one with the front three. So there were a lot of situations where Lindelof was one-on-one with Salah when they switched places with Mane. And that's a problem because both of them are faster than Lindelof. So what Lindelof would do is try to guide them as wide as possible and then leave them to Maguire to sweep after. Remember that chance with Salah was free on goal because we pressed and they played the ball to him?
Yeah.
And then Maguire and Lindelof switched places. So Lindelof just guided Salah to the byline, not the byline, but like to wide, then left him. Maguire came to intercept Salah or stand in front of him, and then Lindelof looked out for who's coming in from the other side, because Shaw was on Mane, and then Firmino was coming in late with no one marking him. So he's not in the way of both, which was I thought it was a phenomenal read from both our center backs. So that's these little things Lindelof is better at. Bailly probably would just use his pace and take Salah down. I'm probably make a good tackle, and he's not bad at it. This is the differences between them. But of course, if you're gonna play Maguire all the time, and we're gonna have more of the ball against more teams we're gonna play against, we're gonna have more of the ball than just Liverpool. So it has to be Bailly because he's just faster.
Fair enough. And when you say taking Salah down, no, Bailly would have taken Salah down. He would not have won the ball at all. He would have taken him down. I can assure you that. So there you go. We've hit our 20 like target. So you are all a bunch of legends. I can take that banner down so you can see these wonderful faces and their wonderful handles. So make sure to go follow them everywhere. We're going to go around for one last round. James, your final thoughts and give us your man of the match, please.
My final thoughts that sprung to mind after full time were that just remembering how many times we came from behind in that final Fergie season. Now, I don't know if that means anything. It probably doesn't, but it's just.
Sorry, yes, it does. What did we do No, hang on. What did we do in Fergie's final season, James?
I can't remember. I
think we won the league, mate. So clearly, it does mean something. Carry on. Don't say anything as stupid as that ever again.
But no, it was a joke. But I think the criticism that we're getting from journalists about going behind first all the time, and that's not title winning form. It clearly is. It has won titles before, so I'll leave that just lingering in the air. But I think man of the match today, it's a difficult one. I picked Cavani personally because I think just his all round play, linking everything together, is his work rate as well, it was phenomenal, and I think he was a big reason why we won this game. He could have had a second if it wasn't for an incredible save from Areola. So I'm going to go Edison Cavani.
Edinson Cavani. What a name. I just love saying his name. It just gives me shivers down my spine. Connor, over to you. Sorry, I mean Harry Maguire.
Here we go. I knew that was coming. That's why I paused. Yeah, no. It was like I said earlier, it was a decent performance. That, like I touched on earlier, I think the most important thing for me is the fact that we can win when we're in front, because we can counter-attack, and we know this team has the team spirit and the belief in itself to come from behind. I think the stat was at halftime we've come from behind. I think that's the 7th time in this season in the Premier League we've come from behind to win. So we know that this team's got it in him. You know what I mean?
Come on, Harry, sort your words out.
In terms of man of the match, I think that there's probably only 2 shouts for man of the match. Oh, Brown Knight, come on now, just violating me live on air. In terms of man of the match, yeah, I think there's probably only 2 shouts, probably Cavani or Pogba. I'm going to go with Cavani though. Like James just said, he probably should have had another goal if it wasn't for a brilliant save. But I don't think you can underestimate that movement in the box, because I think it frees up other players. So yeah, Edison Cavani for me.
Cheers, Skipper. Over to you, Abdel. Your mic's muted.
Yeah, I would say Cavani just for the sheer effort and the first goal as well. Like he really, really puts in the work. You can see it on his face and everything that he does. Close second for me, I would say Pogba, just because the winner. But yeah, I would go with these 2. That's for sure.
Big goal from Paul Pogba, but it is 2-1 to Cavani. I don't know who I pick as my man of the match. Let's pick someone random then. Fuck it, we'll go De Gea, because if we didn't make that save, from point blank range, we probably draw the game. So I'm going to go with him. I don't think he has to do anything else other than that, to be honest. But whatever, who gives a shit? We're top of the league. Everyone liked the video. Make sure to comment below. I'm going to give you my final thoughts. I was a bit worried, I'm not going to lie, when we conceded. I was going to say, oh, fucking hell, we're going to drop off now. But then I remembered that these tricky Reds love an away comeback. What am I thinking? Are we going to drop points? Another win away from home. 17 games on the road unbeaten. That's a year. We've gone a whole calendar year without losing away from home. That's ridiculous. Some people set home records. That's not for us. We decided to go to your home, your garden, your backyard, your place of worship, and decide to beat your team. That's what we do. Place of worship. That's a strange phrase I've come up with. Anyway, yeah, so we've won again. We just do that every day now, don't we? It's just another thing, just another win. Fuck it. I mean, you know what? You can go top of the league for a couple of hours. We'll come by and take our place back. That's what we do at this point. I said it at the start of the game. I go, you know what? Sure. I'll put aside 90 minutes of my time to watch United go top of the league again. And that's exactly what we did. United are top of the league. We're 2 points ahead of City. We are, I don't even know how far ahead of Liverpool we are, because they're irrelevant. Leicester is still in the mix, but they don't scare me because they got Brendan Rodgers. He's great at fucking up a title chant. We've got City and Pep's a ball frauds. That's fine. We've got a Norwegian PE teacher who's supposedly better than everyone, and that feels great. No tactics, just vibes. But you know what? These are title-winning vibes, so get on board. And if you weren't on board before, well, you're not allowed, actually, to be honest, because you know what? I don't want that negativity on here. We don't want that negativity on Wolf United.
Karthik, we're vibing on top of the league, right?
Exactly. We're vibing at the top of the fucking league. Come join us. If not, you're just part of everyone else. But it's just us and the rest of the league. That's how I see it. And you know what? What a change it is from going from, if we win, we might get closer to top 4. And now we're in a stage of, if we win, we go back to the top of the league. That's a fucking change, isn't it? Make sure to like the video. Make sure to comment what you thought of the game. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to share the video, because sharing is caring. But you know what we don't do? We don't share points. 21's on the way. I'll see you in a bit.